single greatest concern. This president's going to try to steal this election. This is a guy who said that all mail-in ballots are fraudulent, voting by mail, while he sits behind the desk in the Oval Office and writes his mail-in ballot to vote in the primary. I promise you, I'm absolutely convinced they will escort him from the White House with great dispatch.
This video was from back in June. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden stating that the U.S. Army will, quote, escort President Trump from the White House with great dispatch, end quote. Some may poo-poo this. That's just Joe Biden. He doesn't know what he's saying anymore anyway, and they might dismiss that slip of the tongue. However, just a few days ago, 2 former Army officers published an open letter to the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army calling upon the U.S. Army to remove President Trump from the White House on January 21st if he does not leave. Their letter was published on the DefenseOne.com website. Their call for the Army to remove President Trump could not have been clearer. And I quote, "As Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, you are well aware of your duties in ordinary times to serve as principal military advisor to the President of the United States and to transmit the lawful orders of the President and Secretary of Defense to combatant commanders. In ordinary times, these duties are entirely consistent with your oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We do not live in ordinary times. The President of the United States is actively subverting our electoral system, threatening to remain in office in defiance of our Constitution. In a few months' time, you may have to choose between defying a lawless president or betraying your constitutional oath. We write to assist you in thinking clearly about that choice. If Donald Trump refuses to leave office at the expiration of his constitutional term, the United States military must remove him by force, and you must give that order," end quote from their letter. But that is not all. Watch this video of Hillary Clinton just a few weeks ago.
You know, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch.
Hillary Clinton says it straight out. Joe Biden should not concede the election under any circumstances. But that is still not all. In June, a think tank called the Transition Integrity Project convened a bipartisan group of over 100 current and former senior government and campaign leaders and other experts in a series of 2020 election crisis scenario planning exercises, as they called it. As they write in their report, the results of the exercises were alarming. Quote, "We assess with a high degree of likelihood that November's elections will be marked by a chaotic legal and political landscape. We also assess that President Trump is likely to contest the result by both legal and extra-legal means in an attempt to hold onto power." They publicized this report. It's public on the web. Former Bill Clinton White House Chief of Staff John Podesta, he played Joe Biden in the exercise. And get this, he refused to concede the elections, instead pressuring states that Trump had won to instead send Democrats to the Electoral College and vote to win in the Electoral College, and then trusting that the military would take care of the rest. The upcoming November elections are extremely important. As an American, a Jew, and an Israeli, I honestly believe a strong United States of America is essential, not just for America, but for Israel and the whole freedom-loving world to be safer, regardless if one supports Trump or not. This video, with these pieces of information coming together, should be a wake-up call. Public opinion is being set up for a contested November election, and that is bad, very, very bad, not just for Americans, but for the whole freedom-loving world. A weak America plagued by violence without consensus about an election result is horrible for all of us.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.